In the busy halls of Nairobi's most famous school, Amani Njeri was almost invisible. She walked quietly, never making a loud noise or drawing attention. Most students didn't even notice her, and those who did thought she was weak and easy to push around. Because she was shy and kept to herself, the mean kids, Lulu, Juma, and their group, picked her as their target. They laughed behind her back, whispered cruel things, and made fun of her in front of others. Amani felt alone, like no one saw her pain or cared about her struggles. Every day was a battle just to get through school without tears or fear. The bullies did everything they could to make her life miserable, thinking no one would stop them. But deep inside, Amani had a secret strength. She wasn't just the quiet girl everyone ignored. She was someone with a powerful future. Her family was not ordinary. They were about to reveal a fortune and influence that would change everything. No one expected that the girl they thought was nothing would become the person who would stand tall and change the game. The very same bullies who made her feel small would soon face the truth and see just how strong Amani really was. This is a story of how silence and invisibility can hide the greatest power waiting to be discovered. Amani's life at school was far from easy. Every day felt like walking into a storm she couldn't escape. Lulu and Juma were the worst. They were not just bullies. They were like rulers of the school, feared by many and loved by none. Lulu was sharp-tongued and quick to spread nasty rumors, while Juma used his strength and a cruel smile to scare anyone who got in his way. Together, they made sure Amani knew she was their favorite target. It wasn't just the mean words or the laughter behind her back. Lulu and Juma made sure their cruelty was public, so everyone could see and no one could help. They would call her names in front of the whole class, push her books to the floor, and trip her when she wasn't looking. Sometimes, they would block her way in the hall and laugh while she tried to get past. The other students watched but stayed silent, afraid to become the next victim. Amani's heart would pound with fear, but she never showed tears. She learned to hide her pain, to smile even when she wanted to scream. But the worst was what happened when no one was watching. Lulu would sneak into Amani's locker and ruin her schoolwork or hide her things. Juma would mess up her bag or trip her just enough to make her drop her things, but not so much that anyone else would notice. These small acts of sabotage made Amani's days harder and harder. She worked hard in class, but every time she tried to do well, something would go wrong. Her confidence slowly broke and the loneliness grew. No one understood the storm inside because she never spoke about it. At home, Amani kept quiet too. She didn't want to worry her family or seem weak. She pretended everything was fine, but inside, she felt crushed. She wondered why the bullies hated her so much and if things would ever get better. Sometimes she dreamed of standing up to them, but the fear stopped her. The cruelty behind closed doors was like a heavy cloud following her everywhere. It made her feel small, invisible, and trapped in a world where kindness was rare. Despite all this, Amani had a secret that even Lulu and Juma didn't know. She wasn't just a scared girl. She was learning skills from her family, skills that would soon give her power. Her family's business was huge and important, and they had been preparing her for a big future. She kept this hidden because she knew the bullies would only try to hurt her more if they found out. So she stayed quiet, building strength inside like a quiet storm ready to break free. Every day of pain and humiliation was a step toward something bigger. Amani's silent suffering was not the end of her story, but the beginning. She was learning to be strong in a way that didn't need loud words or fighting back with cruelty. Instead, she was growing in wisdom, patience, and courage that would one day change everything. The bullies thought they had won, but the truth was far different. This story isn't just about pain or fear. It's about the hidden battles many face alone, behind closed doors, where no one sees the tears or hears the silent cries. It's about the power of endurance and hope that can grow even in the darkest places. Amani's story shows us that even when life feels unfair and cruel, there is always a strength inside waiting to shine and a future full of promise waiting to be claimed. What the bullies didn't know about Amani was far more than they could ever imagine. While they saw her as just a quiet, shy girl, Amani was hiding a powerful secret. She was the heir to one of the biggest business empires in Nairobi. From a very young age, her family had been teaching her important lessons about money, leadership, and strength. Unlike the other kids at school who focused only on grades and gossip, Amani was learning how to be smart, calm, and confident in ways that would soon change everything. At home, her parents didn't just spoil her or shield her from the world. Instead, they prepared her to take over their business one day. They taught her how to make tough decisions, how to stay calm under pressure, and how to lead with kindness and wisdom. Amani spent hours reading books, meeting important people, and learning skills that no one at school could see. She knew that her power was different from what the bullies used. Their power was loud and mean, but hers was quiet and strong. She was growing inside, even if no one noticed. Every night, when the bullying and cruelty of the day were far away, Amani would practice her skills. She imagined a future where she would stand tall, not just for herself, but for everyone who had been hurt like she was. She dreamed of turning her pain into strength and showing the world that being quiet did not mean being weak. The secret strength gave her hope and courage, even on the darkest days. The bullies thought they had control over her because they only saw her in the school halls, scared and alone. They didn't know about the business meetings Amani attended with her parents or the plans she was making for the future. They didn't understand that the shy girl they laughed at was preparing to become a leader, someone who could change lives and stand up to cruelty in a way no one expected. Amani's strength was not about fighting with fists or shouting back. It was about knowing who she was, believing in herself, and getting ready to rise above the hate. This made her powerful in a way the bullies couldn't touch. They were caught up in their own small world of teasing and hurting others. But Amani was focused on something bigger, a future where she would no longer be invisible. Slowly but surely, Amani started to see herself differently. The pain she had endured didn't disappear overnight, but she learned to carry it like a shield instead of a burden. Her secret strength gave her the confidence to dream bigger and to plan carefully. She wasn't just waiting for things to get better. She was preparing to make them better herself. The day would come when Amani would step out of the shadows and show everyone just how strong she really was. The very bullies who had tried to break her would see that their power was only temporary. Amani's quiet strength would shine brighter than their cruelty ever could. She was becoming someone the whole school and the whole city would remember. This story is a reminder that strength doesn't always look like we expect. Sometimes it hides behind silence and shyness, growing quietly inside a person who seems weak but is actually very strong. Amani's secret was more than just money or power. It was the belief in herself and the lessons she had learned that would one day change everything. And when that day came, no one would be able to ignore her again. No one expected what happened next. For years, Imani had stayed quiet, hidden behind her shy smile and silent strength. But everything changed the day her family made a public announcement that shocked the entire school and even the city. The Njeri family was not just any family. They were one of the richest and most powerful in Nairobi. Their fortune, their business empire, and their influence were now known to everyone. Suddenly, Amani was no longer just the invisible girl everyone ignored. She became the daughter of a powerful family, and the way people looked at her changed overnight. At first, some students still tried to act like nothing had changed. Lulu and Juma, the bullies, continued their cruel games, thinking Amani would still be weak. But they were about to learn a hard lesson. Amani, who had been quiet and fearful, stepped forward with a new confidence. She didn't need to shout or fight. Her calm and steady presence was enough to show everyone she was no longer the same girl. She was now a force nobody dared to challenge. People watched as Amani walked through the halls with her head held high, her eyes clear and strong. The power she had kept hidden was now shining through in everything she did. Teachers started to treat her differently, and even the students who once ignored her began to respect her. The whispers about her family's fortune were everywhere, but what mattered most was how Amani carried herself. She showed that strength wasn't about being loud or cruel. It was about being brave, calm, and sure of who you are. Lulu and Juma felt the change too. They no longer had the power to scare her, and soon others started to see the bullies for what they really were. People who hid their own weaknesses behind hurtful words and actions. Amani didn't seek revenge with anger. Instead, she used her new position wisely, showing kindness and fairness. She became a leader by example, someone who could stand up for herself and others without losing her dignity. Her rise was unexpected because no one believed the quiet girl had it in her. But Imani proved that true power comes from within. It comes from the courage to face your fears and the wisdom to use your strength for good. The school that once ignored her now looked to her for inspiration. Students who felt invisible like she once did found hope in her story. They saw that it was possible to rise above pain and fear, to turn silence into a voice that commands respect. Amani's journey wasn't just about winning against bullies or showing off wealth. It was about transformation, about becoming a queen in her own right, not because of her family's money, but because of her courage and heart. She showed that even those who seem the weakest can become the strongest if they believe in themselves. The day Amani stepped forward was the day everything changed. The silent girl who had once been overlooked became a symbol of hope and strength for everyone around her. Her story spread beyond the school, inspiring many to stand up, speak out, and believe in their own power. Imani's rise was a reminder that sometimes the most powerful people are the ones who quietly prepare themselves, then step into the light when the time is right. From that moment on, no one could ignore Amani Njeri again. She was not just a student or a daughter of a rich family. She was a queen who had risen from silence and pain to become a true leader, strong and fearless, ready to face whatever came next. After Amani's rise, the balance at school began to shift. The bullies who once ruled with fear and cruelty found their world starting to crumble. Lulu, Juma, and their gang had been powerful because no one dared to speak up against them. They hid behind lies, secrets, and their bad behavior, thinking they were untouchable. But Amani had something they didn't: a clear mind, a strong heart, and the courage to reveal the truth. Slowly, Amani began to expose everything. She didn't do it with anger or revenge. Instead, she used facts and careful planning. She showed the school and the community the real side of Lulu and Juma, how they lied, cheated, and hurt others. Secrets that had been hidden for years came to light. People started to realize the bullies were not the heroes they pretended to be. Instead, they were people who hurt others to cover their own fears and weaknesses. Amani gathered proof of their lies. She talked to students who had been too scared to speak before. She found evidence of the bullying and the tricks Lulu and Juma used to get what they wanted. The more Amani shared, the more the community began to turn against the bullies. Teachers and parents who had once ignored the problem now stood with Amani. The bullies could no longer hide behind their tough image. One by one, Lulu, Juma, and their gang faced the consequences. Their secrets were no longer safe, and their lies were exposed in front of everyone. Their reputation was ruined, and their power at school faded quickly. They lost friends and respect. The fear they once spread changed into shame and isolation. The school became a safer place because the bully's grip was broken. Amani didn't stop there. She used her voice to help others who had been hurt but felt powerless. She showed that no one has to stay silent and that truth can bring justice. Her courage inspired many students to speak out against bullying and cruelty. The whole community began to change, learning to support kindness and respect. Even though Lulu and Juma tried to fight back, their actions were no match for Amani's calm strength and the support she had gained. They realized too late that their world was falling apart because they built it on fear and lies, while Amani's world was built on truth and courage. The power had shifted, and the bullies were no longer in control. This part of Amani's story teaches us that cruelty can never last forever. When someone stands up with honesty and bravery, the truth shines through. The bully's downfall was not just about punishment, but about showing everyone that no one is above kindness and fairness. Amani's actions helped heal the wounds left by the bullying, making the school a place where everyone could feel safe again. The community's support for Amani grew stronger every day. They saw her not just as a student or a rich girl, but as a leader who stood for what was right. Her strength gave hope to those who had been scared to speak and showed that even the biggest problems can be solved when people come together. In the end, Lulu, Juma, and their gang were left with nothing but their broken reputation and the lessons they should have learned long ago. Meanwhile, Amani rose higher, not just as a winner, but as a symbol of justice and hope. Her story spread far beyond the school, inspiring many others to find their own courage and fight for what is right. This is a reminder that no matter how strong the bullies may seem, their power is only temporary. Truth, kindness, and courage will always win in the end. And when someone like Amani rises up, even the toughest bullies have no choice but to fall. After the bullies' world began to fall apart, many expected Amani to seek revenge, filled with anger and hate. Everyone thought she would fight fire with fire, shouting back, humiliating Lulu and Juma, or trying to get even in any way she could. But Amani surprised everyone. Instead of responding with bitterness or cruelty, she chose a different path, one filled with grace, kindness, and forgiveness. This choice shocked the whole school and even the city. People couldn't believe how calm and strong she remained, even after everything the bullies had done to her. Amani understood something important. Real power is not about hurting others or showing who is stronger by causing pain. True power is about rising above the hate, healing wounds, and bringing people together. So, when Lulu and Juma tried to make her life difficult, even after being exposed, Amani didn't respond with more cruelty. She remained composed, acting with dignity and respect. Her calmness made the bullies look even worse. They seemed small and angry next to her peaceful strength. One day, during a school assembly, Amani spoke publicly, not to accuse or attack, but to forgive. She said she forgave Lulu, Juma, and their friends, not because what they did was okay, but because holding on to anger would only hurt her more. Her words were powerful. They showed everyone that forgiveness is a choice that frees the person who forgives, giving them peace and control over their own life. Many students and teachers were moved to tears. The story of Amani's forgiveness quickly spread on social media, becoming a viral sensation. People all over the city and beyond shared her story, inspired by the strength she showed. Amani's graceful revenge wasn't about weakness, it was about courage. It takes great bravery to forgive those who have hurt you deeply. Her example taught a valuable lesson. Winning does not mean defeating others with hate, but winning means staying true to yourself and showing kindness even when it is hardest. Her actions made people rethink what it means to be powerful and successful. The bullies, once so cruel and loud, were silenced by Amani's quiet strength. Instead of being broken by their actions, she became a symbol of hope, proving that kindness can be stronger than cruelty. Her story encouraged others who had been bullied to believe in themselves and to choose grace over revenge. This moment changed the whole school. Instead of fear and anger, the halls filled with respect and support. Students who had been silent found their voice. They learned that power is not about causing pain, but about building a better community. Amani's story showed that even the hardest challenges could be overcome with love and forgiveness. The viral story of Amani's forgiveness reached far beyond Nairobi. People everywhere shared her message of grace and strength, inspiring many to think differently about how to handle hurt and anger. She became a role model for young people, showing them that rising above cruelty makes you truly powerful. In the end, Amani didn't just win against the bullies. She won against hate itself. Her choice to forgive changed lives and made her story unforgettable. It reminded everyone that the greatest revenge is not to return harm, but to live with kindness, strength, and a heart full of grace. Amani's story teaches us all that forgiveness is not a weakness, but the greatest power we have. It shows that when we choose to respond with love instead of hate, we change not only our own lives, but the world around us. This is the true meaning of victory. Amani's journey from being bullied and ignored to becoming a powerful leader inspired many people, especially those who had been hurt or mistreated. She showed everyone that no matter how much pain you go through, you can still rise above it with strength and courage. Her story became a symbol of hope for all those who felt small, invisible, or scared because of bullying. People saw how she faced cruelty without losing her dignity and how she never gave up, even when the world seemed against her. Amani's victory was not just about winning against the bullies. It was about proving that kindness and resilience are stronger than hate and cruelty. She taught everyone that true strength comes from within, from believing in yourself and choosing to stay strong no matter what. She showed that you don't need to fight with anger or revenge to win. Sometimes just standing tall and keeping your heart pure is the greatest victory. Many students and young people looked up to Amani as a queen who ruled with grace, not fear. Her story spread far and wide, giving courage to those who felt lost and alone. They learned that being different or quiet doesn't mean you are weak. Like Amani, they could use their pain to build power and confidence. Her triumph became more than just a personal success. It became a message to the whole community that cruelty will never win if we stand together with kindness and respect. Amani's journey reminds us all that no matter what challenges we face, strength, dignity, and resilience will always lead to victory over hate.